Bumpy Johnson pushed open the church basement door and saw a man he'd buried 3 weeks ago, sitting calmly at the folding table. Listen, because the fact that Vincent Corso is still breathing means someone in Bumpy's own circle put a target on his back instead. This is Abyssinian Baptist, the big stone church on 138th, where half of Harlem comes on Sunday mornings to hear Reverend Powell preach about justice and redemption. But tonight, just past midnight, on a Tuesday in February, it's only Bumpy walking down the concrete steps into the fluorescent-lit meeting room that smells like old hymnals, floor wax, and the faint ghost of this morning's coffee. The call came an hour ago. Basement, alone. You'll want to see this. No name, just a voice Bumpy didn't recognize, crackling through static on a payphone, and what he sees now is Vincent Corso, the Italian numbers runner from the Bronx, who supposedly got hit outside a bar on Valentine's Day, pouring himself coffee from a steel percolator like he never left. Vincent looks up, smiles. Not a friendly smile. The kind of smile you give someone when you're holding all the cards and they're just figuring out they've been played. "Bumpy," he says. "Long time." Bumpy doesn't move from the doorway. His hand stays inside his jacket, fingers wrapped around the grip of his pistol. The door behind him is still open. Cold February air drifting down the stairs. He could turn around right now, walk back up, pretend he never saw this. But that's not how this works. Once you see something like this, you can't unsee it. "Vincent," Bumpy says quietly. His voice is calm, but his mind is racing through memory after memory. 3 weeks ago, he went to Vincent's funeral at Holy Cross Church in the Bronx. Closed casket, draped with white lilies. Vincent's mother crying in the front pew, black veil covering her face, rosary beads wrapped around her trembling fingers. The priest talking about how Vincent was a good son, a hard worker, a victim of the senseless violence that plagues their community. Bumpy even sent flowers, white roses, 24 of them, and a card that said "Rest in peace." And now here's Vincent, alive, drinking coffee in a church basement at midnight, like death was just a costume he took off. Write in the comments, where are you listening to this story from? And what time is it right now? You gonna stand there all night? Vincent asks. Or you gonna come in and let me explain? Bumpy steps inside, lets the door close behind him. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The room is small, maybe 20 feet by 15, with concrete walls painted yellow and a bulletin board covered in announcements for bake sales and Bible study groups. There's a card table in the center with 2 folding chairs. Vincent sits in one. The other is empty, waiting. "Explain what?" Bumpy asks. "How you came back from the dead. How you let your mother think she buried her son." Vincent's smile fades a little. "That wasn't my choice." "Whose choice was it?" Vincent takes a sip of coffee, sets the cup down carefully. "Sit down, Bumpy. This is gonna take a minute." "I'll stand. Suit yourself." Vincent leans back in his chair. He's wearing a wrinkled gray suit and a white shirt with no tie. His hair needs cutting. There's a scar on his left cheek that wasn't there 3 weeks ago. Fresh, still pink. "You know why I called you here. I'm guessing it's not for a prayer meeting." Vincent laughs. Short, bitter sound. "No, not for prayer. Though you might want to start praying when I tell you what I'm about to tell you." He pauses. "Someone tried to kill me, Bumpy. Someone close to you. And they did a pretty good job of making it look like you ordered the hit." Wait. This is the moment. The reason Vincent's alive, the reason he called Bumpy here, the reason this whole thing is about to get very complicated, because if someone in Bumpy's crew tried to kill Vincent and frame Bumpy for it, that means there's a traitor, and traitors are more dangerous than enemies. Bumpy pulls out the empty chair and sits down. "Start from the beginning," he says. Vincent nods. 3 weeks ago, I'm leaving Sal's Tavern on 3rd Avenue. It's late, maybe 2 in the morning. I'm walking to my car when a guy comes up behind me. I don't hear him. He's good, real quiet, but I see his reflection in a car window. I turn, take the hit on my shoulder instead of my head. Still hurts, but I stay conscious. What'd he hit you with? Tire iron. Heavy one. Vincent touches the scar on his cheek. Caught me here. I go down bleeding, and he's standing over me saying, "Bumpy Johnson sends his regards." Then he hits me again. I'm pretending to be dead by the third hit. He checks my pulse, doesn't feel anything, and walks away. Notice how Vincent's telling this story. Every detail precise. Every word careful. This isn't someone making things up. This is someone who lived through something terrible and wants to make sure you understand exactly what happened. Who was he? Bumpy asks. That's the thing, Vincent says. I didn't recognize him. Never seen him before. But here's what I did recognize. The way he moved. The way he checked the street before he approached me. The way he made sure there were no witnesses. That's professional work. Not some random mugger. Not even a regular hitter. That's someone who knows what they're doing. So you played dead. I played dead, Vincent confirms. Stayed on that sidewalk for 10 minutes after he left, making sure he wasn't coming back. Then I dragged myself to a friend's place. Doctor off the books. Doesn't ask questions. He patched me up. Told me I had a concussion and 3 broken ribs. Said I was lucky to be alive. And then I made a choice. Vincent picks up his coffee cup again. Stares into it like he's reading tea leaves. I could have come to you right away. Told you what happened. But I thought if someone close to you ordered this hit, they'd find out I'm alive and try again. So I stayed dead. Had the doc spread word that I didn't make it. Had my cousin ID a body. Homeless guy. Nobody claimed him. And we had a funeral. Closed casket. Listen to what he's saying. Vincent didn't trust Bumpy enough to come to him directly. He trusted him enough to meet him now, 3 weeks later, but not enough to risk his life on Bumpy's word that he'd be protected. That tells you how deep this betrayal goes. Bumpy leans forward. Who close to me would want you dead? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Vincent says, for 3 weeks, I've been hiding out, asking questions, following threads, and I think I know. But before I tell you, I need to know something. Are we square, you and me? Square. 3 months ago, we had a disagreement. That shipment from Newark. You said I shorted you $200. I said I didn't. We argued. You let it go, but I never knew if you really believed me or if you were just waiting for the right time to settle it. Bumpy remembers. It was a small thing, barely worth mentioning. A shipment of bootleg whiskey that came up short. Vincent swore he delivered the full amount. Bumpy couldn't prove otherwise, so he let it slide. $200 wasn't worth starting a war over. But Vincent's right. Bumpy never completely believed him. I believed you. Bumpy lies. Because right now, trust is more valuable than truth. Vincent studies him for a long moment, then nods. Okay, then I'll tell you what I found. He sets his coffee cup down. It's Raymond. The name hits Bumpy like a fist. Raymond, his driver, his right hand. The guy who's been with him for 12 years. The guy who drove him to Vincent's funeral. The guy who helped carry the flowers into the church. No, Bumpy says. Yes, Vincent says. I'm sure. I tracked down the hitter. Guy named Mickey from Queens. Paid him $500 to tell me who hired him. He said a black guy, well-dressed, drives a Cadillac, works for Bumpy Johnson. That's Raymond. That could be anybody. It could be. Vincent agrees. Except Mickey gave me more details. He said the guy who hired him has a scar on his right hand. Burned scar, shaped like a crescent moon. From a kitchen accident when he was a kid. You know anybody fits that description. Bumpy closes his eyes. He does know. Raymond has that scar. Got it when he was 8 years old. Grabbed a hot pan off the stove. Raymond's told that story 100 times. Usually when he's drunk and feeling nostalgic. Remember that deadline Vincent mentioned at the start? The one about someone putting a target on Bumpy's back? This is bigger than one dead man coming back to life. This is about Raymond, someone Bumpy trusts with his life, being a traitor. And if Raymond's betraying him, who else is? Why? Bumpy asks. Why would Raymond want you dead? That's the question I've been asking, Vincent says. And here's what I think. Raymond's not trying to kill me. He's trying to start a war between you and my people. If I turn up dead, and it looks like you ordered it, the Italians in the Bronx are gonna want revenge. They'll come after you. You'll fight back. Harlem and the Bronx turn into a war zone. And in the chaos, Vincent spreads his hands. Raymond steps up, takes over when you're weakened or dead, builds his own empire on the ashes. Look at the logic here. It makes sense. Too much sense. Raymond's ambitious, always has been. Smart, capable, connected. The kind of guy who could run his own operation if he wanted to. But he's been loyal to Bumpy for so long that Bumpy never thought he'd make a move. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Bumpy got too comfortable. You got proof? Bumpy asks. More than just a hitter's word? Vincent reaches into his jacket. Bumpy's hand moves to his gun. But Vincent just pulls out a folded piece of paper and slides it across the table. 2 nights ago, I followed Raymond. He met with 3 of your crew at a warehouse on Amsterdam Avenue. They were talking about timing, about how soon they could make their move, about who'd side with them when it goes down. Bumpy unfolds the paper. It's a list of names, 6 of them, people who work for him, people he trusts. And at the top, Raymond. How do I know you didn't write this yourself? Bumpy asks. How do I know this isn't you trying to turn me against my own people? You don't, Vincent says simply. But ask yourself, why would I? What do I gain from lying? I'm supposed to be dead, remember? I've got no crew, no territory, no money. I'm living in a basement apartment in Queens, eating canned soup and wondering when someone's gonna find me and finish the job. I'm not here to play games, Bumpy. I'm here because if Raymond succeeds, we're both dead. You directly. Me because without you to vouch for me, the Italians will think I faked my death to hide from them. Notice the desperation in his voice. Vincent's not some master manipulator playing chess. He's a scared man who sees the walls closing in and is making one last play to survive. Bumpy folds the paper, puts it in his pocket. What do you want from me? I want you to stop Raymond before he makes his move, Vincent says. I want you to clear my name with my people so I can come back. And I want protection while you do it. Because right now, I'm a ghost. And ghosts don't last long in this city. And if I don't believe you, Vincent shrugs. Then Raymond wins. He kills you, takes over your operation, and I stay dead. Or I try to warn the Italians myself, and they think I'm crazy. Either way, we both lose. Wait. Look at the choice Bumpy's facing here. Believe Vincent and move against Raymond, his most trusted man, based on the word of someone who might be lying. Or don't believe Vincent and risk letting a traitor destroy everything he's built. Both options are terrible. Both options could get him killed. Bumpy stands up. I need to think about this. You don't have time to think, Vincent says, standing too. Raymond's meeting with his people again tomorrow night. Same warehouse. He's gonna finalize the plan. If you're gonna stop him, it has to be before that meeting. Tomorrow night, midnight. I'll take you there. Show you. Then you'll know I'm telling the truth. Bumpy walks to the door, hand on the knob, then turns back. Why the church, he asks. Why here? Vincent looks around the basement. At the bulletin board with its innocent announcements. At the coffee pot still steaming on the corner table. Because it's the one place in Harlem nobody would think to look for a dead man, he says. And because he hesitates. Because I needed to remember what it felt like to be in a holy place after what happened, after pretending to be dead, after watching my mother cry. I needed to remember there's still something good in the world. Listen to the weight in his voice. This isn't manipulation. This is confession. Vincent's not just scared, he's broken. The kind of broken that comes from losing everything, including your own name. Bumpy nods slowly. Tomorrow night. But I'm bringing people. Bring whoever you want, Vincent says. Just make sure they're people you trust. Really trust. Because if Raymond gets wind that you know, he'll move up the timeline, and we'll both be dead by sunrise. Bumpy leaves the church basement, climbs the concrete steps, and emerges into the cold February night. The street is empty, except for a few parked cars, and a stray cat picking through garbage near the corner. He stands on the church steps for a moment, breathing in the icy air, trying to sort through everything he just heard. Raymond, his driver, his friend, the man who saved his life twice. Once in '52 when a rival crew from the Bronx tried to ambush them outside Small's Paradise. Raymond saw them coming, shoved Bumpy out of the way, and took a bullet in the shoulder that was meant for Bumpy's head. Spent 2 weeks in the hospital and never complained once. And again in '55 when a cop was getting too curious about Bumpy's bookkeeping, asking questions that could have led to indictments. Raymond convinced the cop to look the other way with a combination of money and intimidation, saving Bumpy from a federal investigation. Bumpy owes Raymond his life, multiple times. How can he believe Vincent over him? But then there's the scar. The crescent moon burn scar. On Raymond's right hand. That detail isn't something you make up. And the list of names, Bumpy recognizes all of them. They're good people. Capable people, the kind who could run their own operations if they wanted to, the kind who might follow Raymond if he promised them something better than what they have now. Bumpy walks to his car, a black Cadillac parked half a block away, and gets in. He doesn't start the engine right away, just sits there in the dark, hands on the steering wheel, thinking, remember that list Vincent gave him? 6 names plus Raymond. If even half of them are really plotting against him, that means his organization is compromised from the inside. He can't trust his usual people. He can't call a meeting and confront Raymond directly, because that might trigger the coup early. He has to be smart about this, careful. But who can he trust? Who's definitely not on that list? Eddie, the restaurant owner. Eddie's not in the crew, he's just a friend, a confidant. Someone Bumpy talks to when he needs perspective. And there's Marcus, the young waiter from Eddie's place. Kid's new, only been around 6 months. Too green to be involved in anything this deep. And there's, who else? Bumpy realizes with a sinking feeling that his circle is smaller than he thought. He starts the engine, pulls out onto 138th Street, and drives south. Not home. He can't go home. Raymond knows where he lives, probably has someone watching. Instead, he heads to Eddie's restaurant, even though it's closed at this hour. Eddie lives in the apartment above the place. Bumpy can trust Eddie. The drive takes 10 minutes. Harlem at night is a different city, quieter, darker, more honest somehow. The neon signs from the clubs blur past. A group of musicians walks along Lenox Avenue carrying instrument cases. A woman in a red dress hails a taxi. Normal life. The life Bumpy's trying to protect. He parks behind Eddie's restaurant, goes to the back entrance, and knocks. 3 slow knocks, then 2 quick. The signal they've used for years. A light comes on in the upstairs window. 30 seconds later, the door opens. Eddie's in his pajamas, hair sticking up, eyes squinting against the cold. Bumpy? It's 1 in the morning. What? I need to talk, Bumpy says. Eddie reads his face, steps aside. Come up. They climb the narrow stairs to Eddie's apartment above the restaurant. It's small, 1 bedroom, a kitchenette with yellow counters, and a 2-burner stove, a living room with a worn brown couch, and a Zenith radio sitting on a bookshelf filled with jazz records and paperback detective novels. But it's clean, organized, everything in its place, the kind of space that speaks to a man who values order and routine. Eddie makes coffee, while Bumpy sits on the couch and tells him everything. The church basement, Vincent alive, the accusation against Raymond, the list of names, the warehouse meeting planned for tomorrow night. When he's done, Eddie hands him a cup of coffee and sits in the armchair across from him. "You believe Vincent?" Eddie asks. "I don't know," Bumpy admits. "Part of me thinks he's lying. But the details, the scar, the warehouse meeting, it's too specific." "But it could be," Eddie points out. "Vincent could have done his homework, found out about Raymond's scar, made up the meeting. If he wanted to turn you against your people, this is how." "Why would he want that? Revenge? Money? Or maybe he really did cheat you 3 months ago, and this is his way of covering it up." Wait. Eddie's giving Bumpy the perspective he needs, the skeptical view, because when you're in the middle of a situation like this, it's easy to get caught up in the story, to believe what you want to believe or fear what you want to fear. Eddie's the voice that says, slow down, think it through, consider all the angles. "So what do I do?" Bumpy asks. "You test it," Eddie says. "Vincent says there's a meeting tomorrow night at a warehouse on Amsterdam Avenue. So you go there, you watch. You see if Raymond really shows up. If he does, and if he's meeting with the people on that list, then Vincent's telling the truth. If he doesn't, then Vincent's playing you. And if Raymond sees me, he won't." "You're good at this, Bumpy. You've been watching people for 20 years. One more night won't kill you." Bumpy sips his coffee. It's strong, bitter, exactly what he needs right now. "What if Vincent's telling the truth?" he asks quietly. "What if Raymond really is planning to take over? What do I do then?" Eddie leans forward, elbows on his knees. "Then you do what you've always done. You protect what's yours. You deal with the traitor before he deals with you. But you make sure first you don't move against Raymond, against anyone, until you're certain. Because if you're wrong, you lose your best man and look weak to everyone else. And if you're right,"
He trails off.
"if I'm right, I've been betrayed by someone I thought was my brother." "Yeah," Eddie says softly. "That too." They sit in silence for a while, drinking coffee, listening to the sounds of the city filtering up through the windows, a siren in the distance, voices from the street, the rumble of a truck passing by. Finally, Bumpy stands. "I should go. Get some rest before tomorrow." "Were you gonna sleep?" Eddie asks. "Not at home, I hope." "I've got a place," Bumpy says. "Small apartment on 145th. Kept it secret, just in case. Nobody knows about it, except..." He stops, realizes what he was about to say. Nobody knows about it except Raymond, because Raymond drove him there once, 2 years ago, when Bumpy needed to lay low after a close call with the cops. Eddie sees the look on his face. "You can stay here," he offers. "Couch isn't comfortable, but it's safe." "Thanks," Bumpy says. "I might take you up on that." He doesn't though. Instead he drives to a small hotel on the edge of Harlem, the Tuxedo Hotel on West 143rd, the kind of place that doesn't ask for ID and takes cash with no questions, pays for a room under a fake name, and lies awake until dawn, staring at the water-stained ceiling, playing through scenarios in his head. If Raymond's a traitor, who else is? How deep does this go? If Vincent's lying, what's his endgame? What does he gain from turning Bumpy against his own people? If there's a meeting tomorrow night, should he go alone or bring backup? And if he brings backup, who can he trust? The questions circle like vultures, never landing, never giving him peace. The sun rises slowly, gray light, filtering through the thin hotel curtains. Bumpy gets up, showers, puts on yesterday's clothes. He looks at himself in the mirror, older than he remembers, lines around his eyes, gray starting to show in his hair. When did that happen? When did he become the kind of man who can't trust his own people? He leaves the hotel, finds a diner, eats breakfast without tasting it, toast and eggs and coffee. Then he drives around Harlem, watching the city wake up, people heading to work, kids walking to school, shopkeepers opening doors, normal life continuing, while his world might be falling apart. At 10 in the morning, after driving through Harlem, he goes to see Raymond. Listen carefully to this next part, because this is where everything could go wrong. Bumpy's about to confront the man who might be plotting to kill him, but he can't let Raymond know he suspects anything. He has to play it cool, act normal, see if Raymond gives anything away. Raymond lives in a brownstone on 132nd Street, 3rd floor. Bumpy parks out front, walks up, knocks. Raymond answers in a t-shirt and slacks, coffee cup in hand. He looks surprised. "Boss," he says. "Didn't expect you. Everything okay?" "Everything's fine," Bumpy says. "Just wanted to check in." Raymond steps aside. The apartment is neat, leather couch, nice rug, good whiskey on the sideboard. Raymond's always had taste, always wanted the finer things. "Coffee," Raymond offers. "I'm good." They sit. Raymond in the armchair, Bumpy on the couch. Morning light streams through the windows. Everything looks normal too. "So what's up?" Raymond asks. "Nothing major," Bumpy says, watching his face. "Thought I might check out that new club on Lenox tonight. You want me to drive?" "If you're free." "Always free for you, boss." Raymond sips his coffee. His right hand wraps around the cup. Bumpy can see the scar. Crescent moon, just like Vincent said. "What time?" Raymond asks. "Late. Maybe 11:30. Raymond nods. "I'll pick you up." "Your place or Eddie's?" "Eddie's," Bumpy says. Because if Raymond's planning something, Bumpy doesn't want him near his home. And because Eddie's place is public, safer, harder for Raymond to make a move there. They talk for a few more minutes. Nothing important. Weather, business, mutual friends. Raymond seems relaxed, normal, but Bumpy keeps looking at that scar on his right hand, keeps thinking about Vincent, keeps wondering. When Bumpy leaves, Raymond walks him to the door. "You sure everything's okay?" Raymond asks. "You seem distracted." "Long night," Bumpy says. "Didn't sleep much. You should rest." "I will," Bumpy says. And as he walks downstairs, he wonders if that was genuine concern or something else. Bumpy spends the rest of the day preparing. He calls Eddie from a payphone on 145th Street, tells him to expect him around midnight. He drives past the warehouse on Amsterdam Avenue that Vincent mentioned. Old brick building with broken windows on the upper floors, loading dock in front covered with graffiti. Looks abandoned but not quite dead. Good place for a secret meeting. He stops by Small's Paradise around 4 o'clock. Talks to the bartender, an old friend named Carl, who's been pouring drinks in Harlem since before the war, and who's not on Vincent's list. Asks Carl if he's heard anything unusual lately, any rumors about Bumpy's crew. Carl says no, everything's quiet, too quiet maybe. People are nervous but nobody's saying why. By the time the sun sets, Bumpy's made his decision. He's going to the warehouse tonight, going to see if Raymond shows up, if Vincent's telling the truth or lying, and depending on what he sees, he'll know what to do next. One day at a time, one decision at a time. That's how you survive in this world. If you want to hear about what Bumpy saw at that warehouse and what he did about it, tell me in the comments.